What's up, security token market family? We're back for another interview series with two very interesting companies. We have TreeBR, who have a huge mission of saving the rainforest and saving the world via climate change. And then we have Digital Markets, Kyle Fry, who is a leader in the security token industry. You will get a chance to hear from them in a moment. And thank you for RedBlock for sponsoring this interview series. They are our Chinese syndication partners. All right, let's start with Kyle. So he's from Digital Markets. Let's hear what you guys are working on and what your role in security token industry and why you chose to work with TreeBR and any general background information you think is relevant.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jonah. Happy to be here again on the Security Token Market Show and doing the interview. I mean, really want to get right into why I think TreeBR is special and super interesting. I think it sort of fits within exactly what we've been doing and what we're building. Ultimately, what Digital Markets wants to do is create the best connection between an issuer and investors. Everything we focus on is reliant on the really big secular trends around retail investing. We see the trends, and we also know that folks want to take sort of their own investing and really kind of shape the world around them with their own money. So important for us to really focus on the retail investing side of the equation. In terms of why we're excited about TreeBR and why we think it's sort of really perfect for what we've built is, TreeBR is an innovative company at a great time where folks are really aware of climate change and what's going on in the broader world in terms of carbon emissions and trading, and creating that connection and showing, there are carbon opportunities out there, but what TreeBR brings to the table is bringing landowners directly to the market, which is really what we're focused on doing. And again, from a technology and listing perspective, what we're doing is helping them on the investment banking side, helping them get the diligence and documents in place and submitted to the exchange for listing to make it publicly available, but also on the technology side, helping them, allowing them to onboard investors directly on their website, handling the KYC AML, funding of the accounts, and even trading portal as well, all within TreeBR's web properties. I'll let Ricardo and Marcelo talk more about TreeBR and the landowner and Amazon preservation in the carbon market. But I'd say one more key point about why I'm excited about TreeBR is this is a perfect use case for blockchain. I think we've all been through the blockchain. Is it a solution looking for a problem? But it's going to track ownership and also the retiring of the carbon credits. And so people will be able to see ownership and how many have been retired in an immutable blockchain, publicly viewable in the same place. So it's sort of a perfect sort of use case in terms of the blockchain technology, as well as a really impactful social message of what they're bringing. So very excited to showcase this. I think this is a big opportunity of what we've been building to show all the things we're doing. And that's why I'm very excited to kind of bring Ricardo and Marcelo to the table and have a conversation with them as well.
Awesome. I'd love to hear from Ricardo and Marcelo. What is your background? How did you come across carbon credits, and how did you come across owning land in the Amazon, and how did you end up meeting Kyle down the line to go the tokenization route? Because that is both of these are very unique use cases. Coming together is creating a very cool product. So Ricardo or Marcelo, whoever wants to kick it off.
Ricardo, should I start with the forest?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. It's good to be here. We made this investment in a huge forest area in the Amazon, native forest, and we started the forest is all under threat, fires, alternative uses like pastures, agriculture. So we found that we needed to start a business of conserving the forest, and the carbon credits was this fantastic tool that the UN created to actually collect payments to not cut the forest. So we started to understanding better the carbon credits market, the voluntary carbon credits market, which is not, it's kind of opaque, not fair to the landowner. And then we started to work with TreeBR and with digital to see how could we get, how could we get paid by the market directly not to cut those trees, and how could we bring a model to the market of forest preservation as a business, not as philanthropy or anything, just a pure business and paid for. And we're as Kyle mentioned, blockchain is perfect for that. Carbon credits is a growing industry, and the forest needs to be saved. So here we are, and Ricardo, I think it's you now.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah. So I think this is why we are here. I mean, we want to find a way to help protect a business way to help protect the Amazon forest and reach to investors in a reliable, auditable, a transparent, and a long-term committed way. We want to be able to build this structure and be able to give this opportunity to investors and landowners and protect the rainforest. So considering my background in finance, IT, 29 years on IBM, not only working with the IT point of view from IBM, but also the finance aspect of IBM, treasury, pension fund, etc. I think it was a good combination when we learned about the goals that the landowners would want, and this structure that will provide this combination of characteristics to the market on a unique way. And we were lucky to join with digital because they have a strong experience on this market, and for sure we are expecting to have a successful implementation of this solution. So very excited about the moment. Absolutely,
absolutely. I love that. So for our viewers and watchers who don't have a good understanding of what a carbon credit is, because that is a very unique investment product and up and coming in the recent years, can someone explain in a simple way what exactly that is and how it benefits all parties? Because I know you have the landowners who benefit, you have the investors who benefit, you have the issuers that benefit. Just a quick overview and how that process works, I think would be super helpful.
Yeah, so let me take this on a high level way, which is, by the way, what we have as a basic view on TreeBR. The forest captured carbon from the atmosphere. This carbon is properly verified and identified by independent parties. If the forest doesn't exist, it means that the carbon goes back to the atmosphere, which is, of course, something that we want to avoid and generates all these consequences of climate change and et cetera, which is exactly why we are fighting this kind of deterioration of the forest. So the landowners, for them to continue to maintain the forest without deterioration, they need projects, they need resources. And this is exactly where what we are doing here. We are providing the landowners with resources so that they can, following several standards that are globally known on the market, they can maintain the forest as they are. So they have to keep the carbon inside the forest, and for that, they have to operate in 3 different pillars: maintain the existing forest, try to add for whatever was already deteriorated, either naturally or by the action of humans, But for that, without the social aspect of the forest, looking at the population that live on the area, that live on the forest, this is very hard to be achieved. So the landowners will have to take care of this infrastructure so that the carbon can be kept within the trees, and this is kind of protecting the atmosphere, because they will retain the carbon there. So what we are doing basically is translating the carbon into a token. Each token will represent one security that is going to be issued by TreeBR, and the investors on the other side of the equation, they will be able to invest an amount on each of these securities that will represent one carbon credit. So we are transforming a carbon credit, a ton of carbon that was captured from the atmosphere that is on the forest. We are translating this to one security that's going to be publicly traded on the market, and investors will be able to benefit from this investment, or they may now or in the future offset their emissions of carbon. Industries, people, individuals, we are every day emitting carbons, and we all can view this as a way to offset our own emissions by preserving the rainforest, by preserving the trees that are holding the carbon on the forest. So this would be, in a nutshell, the design that we are viewing all this project.
Got it. Yeah.
Jonah, happy to just to jump in, and Ricardo, that was perfect. And from I'd say from an investor perspective, you invest in something because you want it to appreciate in price. Yep. There's sort of two-pronged angles with the TreeBR offering. One is as Ricardo said, there's the retirement aspect. So organizations and individuals can offset their own carbon emissions by retiring these shares at any time at their option, and then it'll be on the immutable blockchain. On the investing side, it's a purely supply and demand game. Well, so there's two things. One, supply and demand. You're buying it assuming the price is going to go up because there's going to be more demand than supply over time. Any article you read about how big the carbon universe is going to get is pretty massive. But the other thing is that I think people are becoming substantially more aware of what they're buying. So if you look at the quality, so you can buy carbon offsets in different projects. Are you buying it from a financial intermediary? Who's getting the proceeds? Who's benefiting from a lot of this stuff? We're trying to say the proceeds here are going directly to landowners. You're buying, I would say, the highest quality sort of carbon offset that you could possibly get. So it's not only the supply and demand sort of price speculation, but also the type of carbon opportunity that you're investing in here is arguably substantially higher than anything on the market, including I think there's an ETF and there's some other carbon initiatives that have been launched, but vis-a-vis the actual Amazon rainforest, which is a globally known, sort of place that we want to protect, that we would say that this is going to be higher quality than others.
Interesting. So in terms of carbon credits and, offerings, if they're, carbon credit to protect different parts of the world, you have the Amazon rainforest, maybe you have, other environmental or forests around the world. How do you find the value, because the Amazon rainforest is more well known and is more, very important to the world, because as I was reading, I think 4% of the world is covered by the Amazon rainforest, but 35% of the carbon is absorbed by the Amazon. So in other words, it's vital to protect the Amazon rainforest. I'd even argue that TreeBR is trying to save the world. But kind of seriously though.
Yeah.
So how is the carbon credit valued in a way? If I can invest in a carbon credit from the Amazon rainforest versus a carbon credit, say, I can't think of another area in the world, maybe the Everglades, I guess, in Miami. Are those values different because Amazon rainforest is more important to save? You know what I'm asking? How do you value why is the price appreciating? Like, where does the demand come from, kind of thing?
Can I take that?
Perfect.
For us, in our case, the tropical forest is very dense. So if you take any sample area in the tropical forest, there will be more carbon absorption there because there are more trees and leaves, and so the photosynthesis, which is the process that the trees absorb carbon and store it on the soil, happens in a more intense way in the Amazon, in the tropical forest in general. So the Amazon is probably the largest tropical forest in the world. So there you have this huge machine of removing carbon from the atmosphere and storing it for the long term.
Right.
And in our case, the social aspect, protecting the forest from deforestation in our area, it's basically a social investment, because our main threat is the social condition of the people on the ground. So we need to make huge investments to create alternatives so these people can live, can have a business, can grow other, sustainable agricultural, maybe extracting bamboo, things that don't affect the environment, but they can actually live out of that. So that is our challenge, and that requires capital. So if you're investing in carbon credits and in preservation of the Amazon, you're also investing in social equality and a social project that have a relevance beyond the environmental aspect of it. That's my view. That's our view. That's the view of our project, and that's the view that we share with TreeBR and Digital.
Got it. All right. Thank you for clearing that. That's good. So then, how can people get involved in this project? I know that you guys have an offering that's coming. Please tell me more about the terms of the offering, what kind of investors can participate, where they can invest, when they can, et cetera.
You want me to take that, or you want it, Ricardo?
Yes, please, Kyle.
Yeah, so final offering terms are sort of being finalized the month of September. Trying to get some market feedback. We've done a ton of analysis with the TreeBR team. 2 investment banks have been hired in Toro in the US and Clarity in Canada. And so getting their feedback, bringing them on board, talking to some institutions and just getting probing about the offering. It will be priced to be successful. There are, we've seen things priced from $3 to $45 in terms of 1 ton of carbon offset. Again, I think there is an element that's not comparable in a lot of them. I'd say generally speaking, and maybe Marcelo can talk more about this because he spent a lot of time here. The carbon markets are still evolving. They're pretty fragmented. There isn't a lot of great transparency in terms of why things are priced the way they are. I think there's definitely intermediaries trying to make money off of this and just getting in the way. But in terms of what we've seen, and again, we've done a pretty deep analysis, you could start to see averages and medians in sort of the mid-teens to $20+ per carbon credit. And I think, again, we're figuring out what that right amount is going to be. And again, probably going to price this to be a successful offering, giving up probably some of that upside to initial investors to have the first offering be pretty successful. But I think the actual timeline, probably somewhere in October launch, folks will be able to learn, and they'll continue to get more information available on TreeBR's website, which is treebr.co/tree. TREE, all caps, will be the ticker. So if you go to the homepage, you'll be able to get straight there. I think there's a banner now on stomarket.com where folks can click on. More information will be available, a data room, a full prospectus. We do intend to get approval by the MERS exchange to list. There will be other press releases and announcements ongoing. This is sort of just the beginning of the public face of Ricardo and Marcelo in terms of TreeBR going to market. But folks will continue to learn more information. But today you can actually go to their website and register interest in terms of the amount you invest in. You'll see some of the highlights and stuff that's available there now.
Great. And so my understanding, you guys are doing a Regulation D 506C offering, which enables you to raise capital from accredited investors in the US. Are you going to be doing international investors as well, or just focusing on that right now?
Yeah, so Reg D in the States, and Toro's running that that deal. You know, we are in talks with a bunch of ATSs we're close to. We'd like to probably list that so there's liquidity on the ATS front, but generally speaking, this is very important for this to be a global offering. This is a global problem, and the Amazon rainforest is a globally known place that people want to preserve and protect. So, you know, the Reg S portion of this is critical to getting this launched. So we are doing the global IPO through Merge Exchange. We do intend to, I can't say yet because it hasn't been approved, but we're going through the process of getting the prospectus and the legals and accounting and all that in order to submit to the Merge Listing Committee so that we can take investors from anywhere on the planet but the US. We're doing the Reg D, obviously regulatory environment, and then we'll allow probably the Reg D shares to trade on an ATS in the States during that lockup period.
Very cool. And do you plan on utilizing Rule 144 so retail investors can get involved, or still figuring that out?
Absolutely.
Awesome. I love that. Cool. So I spoke to Marcelo with this on the call the other day, but Ricardo, I love Brazil. Brazil is one of my favorite countries. I've been there 3 times. One of my very close friends is from there. I love Florianopolis. I don't know if you've been there. It's absolutely beautiful. But I know that you are very passionate about Brazil. You, as Kyle was telling me, that you are a past Olympian, I believe, of the Brazilian team. So I was wondering, it seems like you have a whole life passion of helping Brazil and just being there, part of culturally, environmentally. Is this like rooted deep inside you? Like you've always had a deep fondness of Brazil, how, from that discipline of working and participating in the Olympics, what have you learned from that to use in your experience and career, especially with TreeBR?
Yeah, so yes, this is a reason for that I'm really proud of. 3 Olympics. It means roughly 15 years of dedication, planning, execution, failing, and then recovering. So all these characteristics of, in general, Olympic athletes or athletes in general terms, you carry this for your whole life. So you learn to be focused on things. You learn to recover from failures, and this is something that increases your capabilities in every areas on your life, on your personal relations, on your work relations. So this is something that really you bring it to the whole life. And of course, representing Brazil, representing my country where I was born, etc., for such a long time, it's something that increases my interest in working on this area, because right now we are talking about something that Brazil can really help make a difference to the world. So this is something that increases my interest in this market and this discussion of carbon, climate change, and etc. So I'm really proud of having participated on all those Olympics. I rode with my brother. My father was the coach, so there is also a family discussion on this. But we were lucky to win 2 gold medals on Pan American Games, and the Brazilian theme is played. So this is something that with the Brazilian flag, the theme playing, and the anthem, the Brazilian anthem playing, and because you are representing the country, is something that you carry for the whole life. And I think I can help somehow doing this job, also connecting to the country and being able to better represent the country in the world.
Absolutely. I love that passion. That's amazing. Definitely very authentic. So if I'm a landowner of the Amazon, are you just specifically focusing on the Amazon? Or are you, in the future, do you plan on expanding to other land areas that need environmental protection? And if so, or even if just we're talking about the Amazon rainforest, if I'm a landowner, how can I get involved to receive carbon credits?
Yeah, so basically TreeBR is meant to be an alliance of landowners. We are currently focused, of course, on the Amazon forest. Marcelo is representing the area that we have there for this project. There are other people from the Amazon area that are also under discussion about getting together, working together with us to offer carbon credits, but we are open to other areas as well. And we have some specific criteria for people to be able to join the alliance. First, of course, the carbon has to be properly verified by independent parties. They must have the commitment, as I mentioned earlier, long-term commitment. So landowners are allowed to, required to commit for at least 30 years of the forest preservation. There is a lot of requirements that we want to offer to the client, so that we offer the auditability, transparency that I mentioned before. So if anyone wants to join the partnership, contact us. And of course, Marcelo, myself, and the team will be able to evaluate and explain what the business is and how they could join this partnership. It's something that we are really looking forward to.
Awesome, awesome.
Can I just, I want to segue a little bit just to Marcelo. I think from our perspective, working with Marcelo and Ricardo on this, you know, Ricardo, as you mentioned, IBM 30 years, risk management, all about making sure everything is covered. There's no holes in this. It's completely bulletproof. Then obviously, you know, his background as an Olympian and passion to preserve the rainforest, and those coming from the CEO was like very impactful to us, looking at this and doing diligence and thinking about the story here. And Marcelo, the amount of time he has spent. So, you know, maybe Marcelo, you could talk a little bit about Ambiental Amazonia, the CPR note, in terms of it being one of the first on the Brazilian stock exchange. And so actually having, you know, the highest quality standards associated with the things that you guys are doing, and really kind of talking on that point.
Yeah, sure. When we first started to study the carbon credit markets, the first the first hurdle we faced was the high cost of certifying the project. And then you come to market to clients that you don't really know for a price, you don't really know how it's established, and brokers who are typically getting 30 to 50% of the carbon credits output of a project. So it's a very unfair, very hard set of terms to the landowner. So we worked with TreeBR, and we came up with this. We hired Amazonia Ambiental, which is an forest engineering firm in the Amazon area. They certify, they work in certifying other projects, other preservation projects. And they have made a technical assessment based on satellite imagery and the data collected from the area. They have made an estimation of what carbon have we already entitled there up to now, not future projections, just what have we done in the last 30 years. And with that, we are issuing a CPR note. CPR notes are widely, it's a bank instrument widely used by Brazilian banks to finance commodity crops. And last year, Brazilian Congress passed a law extending to forest owners the ability to issue CPR notes as like the commodity producers, and to finance crops of carbon and other products from specifically from forest preservation. So we are issuing CPR notes of our product of our forest preservation, and we are transferring this carbon to TreeBR. So TreeBR can have a registered, certified underlying asset. We actually used BART Digital, which is the leading CPR note issuer in Brazil, and it's deposited with B3, the stock exchange here, that with their depository service. So it's all documented, registered, certified, so TreeBR can use that CPR note as the underlying asset to issue their shares, their listed shares.
And your land, the land region you're in is actually like, what was the California regulation thing, the connection with your land? Because that to me was a pretty heightened.
Our land is located in the state of Acre, A-C-R-E, which one of the states in Brazil that holds a lot of rainforest, big portion of it. And the state of Acre, because they had so many, so much forest there, they created the first legal framework for carbon in Brazil. And they established, like 10 years ago, a work committee with the state of California and the state in Mexico, so that the California could accept carbon credits originated in our state. And they've been working for 10 years on that. And then last year, finally, they got to the final terms. And then now the California Board of Carbon Emissions can accept carbon credits certified in our state, which is a huge landmark, I think, for the Brazilian rainforest and for the recognition that we have a first grade carbon credit, and it's important to preserve our forests. I think that was really great.
Let me just piggyback on this comment and make two additional comments in terms of what we are offering to the market. So the forest capture already a certain amount of carbon. This is verified. Based on this historical analysis, the forest has already lost some of the carbon because of natural disasters or deterioration by the population. So when we are offering our capacity of stock of carbon, we are not offering the actual 100% of the capacity. We are already reducing by this historical analysis of natural deterioration, so that when we offer this total amount to the market, we are safeguarding a portion of the carbon that is there. And the second comment I want to make is TreeBR is not offering any projected carbon to be removed by the forest. Any carbon that is offered by TreeBR is carbon already captured with this safeguard that I mentioned. So I think we are offering a pretty conservative amount of carbon to the investors, and we want to again be able to offer something that's reliable, auditable, transparent, and with long-term commitment.
Awesome, amazing. That definitely clears things up. I think you guys described that very well. I think that kind of ends things for us, but I wanted to thank you, Ricardo. Thank you, Marcelo. Thank you, Kyle, for coming on to the interview today. Definitely stay tuned to hear about their offering go live. You're going to want to get involved in this. That's not financial advice. However, they have potential to save the world. They are trying to save the Amazon rainforest, and every human who is breathing, watching this, which is everyone, you're going to want to save the Amazon rainforest because you might not be able to walk. Jokes aside, thank you guys for coming, and catch us on stomarket.com. We will be posting this interview live across our socials the next week or so, alongside an article in conjunction to allow you to read for more information on this awesome project. All right, thanks guys.